Well, welcome to a level 8. I consider this a level 8 to Ubuntu. About level 7, level 8. It's actually a little bit harder than an advanced camp. There's some surprises that you probably will see either in round 3 or maybe semifinals. So it's kind of the equivalent to the Preacher and Pontiac, the one we have for Windows 10, but this is Ubuntu. Anyway, all right, so this is how we do it. So as far as team ID, if it prompts you for team, it doesn't really prompt you, but if you want to put a team ID in, you can put anything in here. It doesn't make any difference. But go ahead and you can make it 14-1234. That works. All this does is it's going to put it on the back of the scoring report. So if you notice that 14-1234, you'll see that in the back of it. So obviously the first thing we do is README. I'm going to move this over here. And you'll notice also under scoring report, there's already one thing that's already scored, and that's the Linux kernel. So, and if you notice, the 14-1234 is actually in the background of the image. Your water. Anyway, your watermark, I guess you call it that. So anyway, this is this image is called the Green Arrow, which is part of the multiverse, like with Flash, Supergirl, and all those DC comics type of thing. So, all right. So again, one thing that's already been scored is Linux kernel. So obviously you don't have to reboot. You do not need a reboot on this one. So we're going to go through finding the issues. And so under the README, you want to go through the README first. It does tell you that you're going to have to actually create some. So the forensic questions are all scored. There are 4 of them. And this is tells you the story about Oliver Queen. He's basically spent 5 years shipwrecked on a mysterious island, which, if you were seeing the story, he really spent a year there and some other, or a year or 2, and then other things. Anyway, it's an interesting story. But then he returns back to Starling City. That's what. And by night, he's a Green Arrow fighting down justice, and during the day, he actually becomes mayor of the city. Anyway, you'll see that if you watch the story. So we actually have to do some. It basically also tells us do not change his password. Somewhere here it says do not change his password. So we actually have SSH as a critical service. So his sister Thea is back and join. So we have to add Thea as an authorized user, and we have to add her to a group called Team Arrow. So we have to put Oliver plus the Diggle and Thea into that group. There's also another group called the Hive. They are bad guys, and that's Malcolm and Diaz and Laurel to the Hive group. So there's 3 people in the Hive group. Anyway, so it says do not change his password. That is a permanent penalty. You will not get those points back. I think it's at least 5 points, if not 10. Let's see. So again, not everything's been audited, so not all the passwords are known except the green arrows. So uncomplicated firewall is only approved firewall. You could probably load. You can also load in the graphical one. It's not gonna hurt. This is 16.04. So it's not gonna be too much different than 18. But anyway, we'll probably have to. So critical service OpenSSH, and we want again not to let the user log in as root. We want the latest stable version of Firefox. Let's see. So Oliver, the green arrow. So these are not sure about these passwords anyway. So obviously we're going to change them. you know anything about the story, Felicity was also called the Overwatch. Diggle was called Spartan. So here's all your authorized users. So we're going to go ahead, and this is also a service that's running. You don't want to stop that. So if you do see that running, do not stop it, or your scoring engine will stop. All right, so we're going to. First thing I usually like to do after this, well, is all the forensic questions, right? So we like the forensic questions next. Let's bring up question number 1. Question number 1, there is a Python backdoor on this computer. You suspect it started via cron because when you're trying to kill it, it restarts itself every minute. What's the absolute path? So you say it's cron. So okay, that's a big clue. So one of the things we're going to do to find this thing is I'm going to right mouse click, and we're going to open a terminal. And I like to having root privileges right away. So I'm going to say sudo su right away and put in the green arrows password. So I usually like to have eventually have two root screens going at the same time. And you'll see I'll have those up. But initially for the forensic questions, just one's fine. I don't need 2 at this time, but just definitely 1. All right. So the question is, what is the so we need to go cron tab. So cron tab -L, and if you notice, we have this Cisctl link that is going every minute. Now we can also look ps-ef, and then we can go grep on Python, right? So it says something about a Python script. Let's see what that says. So that matches what this says, right? So that's a Python script that's running Cisctl Linux, and so they want to know what the absolute path is. So this looks like the absolute path. Then user sbin Cisctl Linux. And in order to copy and paste this, I select it, and I do right mouse click it, and I click on copy. You cannot do a Control C inside or Control V inside the command prompt in Windows. Now, once we're inside here, like the graphical editor, then you can do your Control C, Control V's, which is Control C is copy, Control V is paste. Now I can just Control V to paste it in. So let's go ahead and save that. Let's see if we get the points. And let me go ahead and move this over for question number 2. One of the users created a backdoor script and made it executable. Well, that's not good. The shell script is in one of the user's directories. The owner of the file is root, and the size of the file is 165 bytes. What's the absolute path of the backdoor shell script? All right, so this is a time that we need to use the find command. So I'm going to use the find command. I know it's in one of the user's directories, so that's starting at home. I know it's a file, so it's type F. And we could go with the size. We could do a couple things. We know the user is root, and we also know the size is 165 bytes. So the C is bytes, and we're just going to get enter here, and it looks like it's in Caden's home directory, the documents subdirectory. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that, highlight it, copy, and let's actually go there. Kind of curious to see what else is in there. And if you notice, Caden is actually not an authorized user, so that he's not somehow he's staying on. So we want to go into Caden documents, and so now we can see it. Okay, so this is the file that was the shell. That's interesting. So he's got other things in there. Anything that's red like this is usually see what this S is. That's a symbolic link. It changed the permissions on this. It has root privileges, interestingly enough. So this is kind of interesting with Cadence saying root. That's kind of curious. We got secrets. I wonder if that's got to play a part. Got a log in here as well. Okay, that's curious. So let's take a look at this SUID. So cat SUID.sh. So he actually takes this program. This is actually a quick program. He puts it into a C file. He compiles that file to what's called a private shell. And then he removes the C program, and then he sets the root privileges. So, okay, that's interesting. So, so what this does, the private shell will actually elevate your this will elevate your privileges if you're able to run this file. So that is bad. So you can actually elevate your privileges, and it's going to create a shell for you. So you don't want anybody having access to this. This is a security risk in a big way. So we will have to delete this in time. So we'll come back to it, but we're going to write this down eventually. And so I'm going to go ahead and save this, and hopefully we get some points. Let's go ahead and bring up question number 3. All right, there's a Python backdoor on the computer. What port is it listing on? Okay, so it says the following command will print open network ports. So SS- capital A, inet -AMP or netstat. So we can check that out. I actually have so you can try those. I actually have a favorite one. My favorite one is actually netstat-2LPN. I gotta make this wider though to make it. So they say we actually have a Python backdoor. Not sure which one's the Python backdoor. All right, let's take a. Oh, here it is, Python. There's Python right there. So Python, of course, we got some other things here. NC is netcat. That's a bad one. Open SSH servers got to be so. Apache's bad. FTP's bad. We got a couple of things we got to take care of. MySQL, all those. Wow. So we got a few things we're gonna have to get rid of. So all right. So let's concentrate on the thing at hand. So Python backdoor. That is this one again. So that's port 31337. I'm going to copy that. 31337. Go up to question number 4. All right, so you can see there's 60 vulnerabilities that you have to find out. They give you one of them, so there's like 59 you got to find. So let's see. Question number 4. Looks like this one. Log files are a set of records that Linux maintains for the administrators to keep track of important events. They contain messages about the server, including the kernel, services, applications running on it. Linux provides a centralized repository of log files that can be located under var/log directory. A copy of the Apache access log file appears to be missing and may have gotten into the wrong hands. Your task is to find the file in one of the user's home directories. Then find all the unique IP addresses in the file and how many times each IP address occurs. We just need to come up with a regular expression to match the IP using this. So we at least were given a regular expression to use. So that's going to be helpful. It's not perfect, but it will work using the grep, sort, and unique commands. Please find the IPv4 address with the highest number of occurrences. and then identify the IPv4 address and the number of times it occurs in the log file Apache minus access.log. All right, so we got to find this file first, the absolute path. So again, going back to the find command, we know it's in the directories, right? So it's in the home directory. So find/home. We know we're going to start there. We know it's a file. We don't care about the size. We do know the name, and the name is going to be Apache-access.log, right? And we kind of saw it before. We saw it in Caden's documents folder, and we're already there. If I do an LL here, you can see the Apache log file, which is a huge file. If you notice, that is very large. So log files do get very large. Now we got that. So let's go ahead and copy that. I'm going to copy that down and put that in the first item. Your answer goes here. So you just do as is. What's the IPv4 address with the highest number of occurrences? Now we got to start using this expression, right? So we got to figure out how to use that expression. So one of the things we want to do for that is, if you look at grep, since we're in the directory now, one of the help. You can do a dash help, tac help. You're gonna want this -O option, only matching, show only the part of a line matching this pattern. So you don't want the whole everything, right? You only want to see that part of the line that matches. So you can see without it, you'll see that we're gonna get all kinds of junk. So let me just show you without it, and then you'll see why we want the O. So we know we want this string here. So let me go ahead and copy this. So let me just show you what it looks like. So we want grep, and I'll just do the expression, and we know it's going to be the Apache log file, right? So you can kind of see it has all this junk, right? Oh my goodness, and just scrolls forever. So let me go ahead and stop it here, Control-C. So, and you can see there's this number just repeats all the time. So we don't want all this other stuff with it. We only want that. So the -O is the option you're going to want. And I'll show you why. So if we do the -O, you can see now we're pulling in just that IP address. But the problem again is it's just replicating every time it gets. We want uniqueness, right? So let's go ahead and there's some commands that we can use, and here it tells us it's kind of giving us a little bit of a clue on what we needed. So I talked about the sort command and the unique command. So let me just bring up the sort, do a help. So you can do tac help, and it gives you some options. If you do sort by itself, it's just going to sort it. There are one of the things you're going to want to point it out. If I sit, we want numeric, right? We want to compare according to a numeric value, right? So we want to get a numeric sort here. So we're going to use a -N eventually, so you'll see in a second. The other one that we're going to be using is the unique command, -- help. So on this one, we're going to be doing, we want unique, but then we're going to say, we're going to add in, give me the number of occurrences, which is perfect, what we want, right? So I'll show you. So let's build this thing slowly. So we got that, but it kept just repeating, right? So at this point, we really want to let's go ahead and sort the list. So I'm going to, when we do this, it's going to take that list, it's going to export the output to the sort command, and then it's going to sort it out to the screen. But again, the problem we're going to have is that it's going to be all the same numbers. It's not going to. I need a unique count, right? So now we need to add that unique command. So let's go ahead and port that output out to the unique, and then give me a count, right? Now, what you're going to find, the problem with this is that unless you put it out to a file, I also need to sort it once more. And that's where the sort -n is going to come in. So if we just did unique C, it's going to give us a count. It's going to bring these down, but there's a lot. You see, there's a lot of these lines here, right? There's a whole mess up. But again, you don't know. I need it sorted, so I have this count sorted, right? And that's part of that sort command. So if I say sort tac help, again, remember also you can look online, look for the stuff online. Google's your friend. So sort -n is what we're going to be needing, and this is the numeric sort according to the string numeric value. So we're going to go ahead and use that. We're going to build onto it. We did the uniqueness. Now we need to sort it one more time with a -n. So we're building this command out, right? So we know this part here, we need the -o because we only wanted that item. And then we did the sort. And now we had to do the uniqueness. Give me a count with that uniqueness. Now we needed to also, let's go ahead and put it in order. So now we have our IP address with the highest. Let's go ahead and copy that. So my IP address, the highest number of occurrences, go here. And my number of occurrences are right next to it. Copy and paste it. And let's go ahead and save it. All right, so it can take some time to figure that out. As you get more comfortable with commands, it becomes easier. But again, you can build your commands out. I would recommend doing some of these over-the-wire capture the flag events, which you tend to get to know these commands a little bit better. But anyway, this is a good exercise in knowing some of the different variety of Linux commands. All right, so we did all 4 forensic questions, and we should have all 4 forensic questions correct. All right, so we got 5 out of 6. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close questions out. And after I usually do all the questions, I usually like getting my auto updates. So I usually go to up there. You can click on this icon over here, system settings, software updates. If that doesn't come up, you can always go up to the find and search your computer and look for software and updates. So if I could not find this, sometimes it's not always. You can always just type in software, and you're looking for the software and updates, and it pulls this up, and then you're looking for this. So what I usually like to do is definitely the top 3. As soon as I put something in here, it's going to ask me for my password. That's the green arrow. Okay, and I really like to do the top 3. You can do the top 4, works fine. But definitely the top 3. I don't do the CD-ROM, but I do the canonical partners. And updates, top 2 for sure. Do the top 3. Usually where your points are is to change this automatically checked daily. This is when you get your points usually. And this is always never. Now let me go ahead and close this. Now this says to reload. I don't usually like to click on reload here. I usually click on close. And then I'd like to do this from the etc directory. So then I just do my apt-get update at this point and let that pull the information from the get the repositories figured out. And that usually goes pretty quick, but I like doing this in the command prompt. So, all right. But that's my preference. If you like it, doing it through the other way, that's fine. All right, so the next thing I usually like doing is once this gets, so I usually have I like to do 2 command windows. So I need to get my second command window at this point. So I'm gonna do a right mouse click, open terminal. And again, sudo su right away. And green arrow is his password. All right. Like doing a lot of stuff in the etc directory. And if you remember, we still had stuff, vulnerabilities. So I'm holding on to those into another screen in my log. I like to keep logs of what I'm doing, things that I found, and then go back to them. So don't forget to go back to them. So as this does this stuff here, I'm going to be going ahead and doing. I'm going to go ahead and do my users. So I need to go back to my README. And remember, there was a user we had to add, and we had some groups we had to add. So I'm going to. We're going to get these users ready to go. There's different ways of doing the users. And so I usually like to have, I usually use an alt command to get all the users from the password file, because the password file has all the users in it. And of course, there's some users, that user IDs you don't touch, but we do want to, they tend to be anywhere starting at 1,000 or higher. So we want to basically look at that. Okay, so this is done with that one. I'm going to go ahead and run the upgrade. So apt-get upgrade dash. When I do a -y, the -y basically says do not prompt. If it asks for a yes, no, automatically say yes to it. So I'm just going to. So it's going to go through some stuff here and do some upgrades. So now we need to go ahead and. I have this one alt command I really like. That's the alt -f. That's the delimiter field delimiter. And in fact, let me do this. Let me just show you this. So when we look at the SC password file, so you can kind of see, oh, this is interesting. The user ID 0. Okay, so when we're looking at this, this is going to be fun. This I'll show you how to get rid of this guy. He's going to be very hard to get rid of, but there's a way to do it. So anyway, so you can see here. So this is the username here. This was the old password field. This is the user ID, and this is the group ID. And then you had some description, and then their home directory, right? And then after that is the shell they're using. bin/false means they don't log in. So what we need to do is we need to pull anything from 1,000 on up. But it looks like this case we need to check on some users that are less than 1,000. So all right, so we'll do a check, especially for user ID of 0. User ID of 0 is the root user. So it's going to be a little trickier to get rid of. So I like this awk command. If you don't know awk yet, I would recommend learning the awk language. It's very powerful. So we're going to go to the third field here. 1, 2, 3. That's the user ID field. And we're saying that this has got to be equal to or greater or equal to 1,000. Let's put a space there, I guess. We'll put some space into it. So we're saying it's got to be greater and equal to 1,000. So anybody with 1,000 or higher. And this is a logical and 2 ampersand signs. $3 is again the third field. It's got to be less than 6,000. So let's not quite go all the way up to. So I think the highest one is 65,534 or something like that. But so basically we're just gonna. And again, this might be something you might want to correct. You can tweak, but I would suggest you learning awk a little bit more. There's some nice online YouTube videos on it. So then we want to. I like doing this print command. Then we want to print, and I'm going to put a hash mark here. You'll see why in a second. Password, end my quote, and then we'll say $1. $1 is going to be the user ID, first field, and I'm going to say less than, which is a redirectional operator, my pass.text, and you'll see what that's in a second. And I'm going to close my brackets. It's my print command. And this is going to close the single quotes now. And it's going to be going from the etc password file. And I want to sort this. Right, I want to put in a sort order. So I want to get it sorted. So let me just show you this to you so you can see what it looks like. So it's going to take hash mark password. Password's going to be a command it's going to run. And I want these in sorted order, so it's going to be easier for me to find. That's why I sort this. So it's easier for me to find. And you'll see that I'm going to put into my pass.text, I'm going to put in a generic password that I'm going to change everybody's password to. So, and then that will fulfill the password requirement, changing passwords. All right. So I need to now save this output to another file. So it's using a redirectional. So I'm going to do an up arrow to repeat my last command. And I'm going to redirect my output. That's the redirection operator greater sign. Redirect that to my users.sh. This is going to be a shell. This is going to be a shell file, shell script. All right, so now I need to do a gedit on my users.sh. I'm going to run this in the background because I need this prompt. So what the ampersand sign does, it runs it in the background. So pop it up, and I can have access to this again. So I want it for some other things. I need to find out who my my root, not root. I need to find out who my administrators are and things like that. So when I work on this file, we can get that done. All right, so let me do the set up the my pass first right away. So I'm going to go ahead and do echo password 1234, and that goes into my pass.text. This needs, if you run the password command, it prompts for the password twice. So we got to do this twice, but because we're in a thin shell, in fact, I need to do the shot thing. Bash, there we go. And then we need to do, since this is a special character, the $sign is a special character, we need to state literally the $sign character. And I like to do, instead of O, do 0. So we don't like upper lowercase, special characters, right? So this, even though password's kind of, you think that'd be a terrible password, but with all those different combinations, it makes it a little bit more secure. So I need to do this twice. And with this double, remember this is a redirectional operator. A single one will create the file. Even if one's there, it's going to overwrite it. So a double greater than sign is going to append whatever you have in there. So if there's a file out, so I do one, it creates the file, and I'm going to append this to that file. So this file, now I have only 2 records in it. It creates it for the first time and then appends it for the second. All right, so now what I'm going to do is go from this list over to this other one, myuser.sh, and going from the top down. So anybody that's over here, I'm going to uncomment, which means I'm going to take away the hash tag. And then if I accept me, so if it's me, it's Oliver, I'm going to take that command out so it doesn't run it. And I'm going to say, this is me, don't touch, right? I need to know that I've at least looked at Oliver, but I'm not changing his password, right? So we don't not want to change his password. It tells us that. So Felicity is next. So we're going to go to Felicity. We're going to take her password, take that out. And we go to Diggle next. And then we go to Malcolm. And so I'm over here. I'm just going down this list, Tommy. So we're going Tommy, take Tom, uncomment Tommy out. So now remember, if anybody's still commented, that means they're not authorized, and we need to take them out. And you'll see what happens when that comes, if we have anybody. So Laurel's next. And what's nice is this is already in alphabetical order. So if you were to it just makes it a little bit easier. All right, so we're just finished time. Let's see, we did Laurel. Okay, now we're at Laurel. Sorry, strike where was that? So again, we're uncommenting anybody that's still commented is unauthorized. So after Laurel, Sarah. Uncomment Sarah. Like I said, this is already in alphabetical order, so it makes it a little bit easier. That's why we sorted it. Because this side over here is not sorted necessarily. So we just did Sarah. So after Sarah, we do Ray. After Ray, we do William. Then Dinah. And then Diaz. And then Emiko. And Daemon. And Mia. And I do not see a Mia. So we need to add Mia. So obviously it's an authorized user we need to add. So we need to add Mia. I'm going to put Mia down. And we also had to add Sia, if you remember. So let me go ahead and put in. So Mia, we have to add, that's user add -M. -M option will actually create the home directories for these users. So that's always a good idea, right? So we want to add their user directory. And then we want to add a password for them. So same thing up here. Right, password, Mia, mypass.com. Don't forget your spaces. Be careful with your spaces. So make sure you have some spaces between them. And so the same thing down here, user add -M Thea. And the double ampersand sign is not is basically saying after this command is ran successfully, then run this command. Okay, so that's what that does. It's in all one line. We could put it in 2 different lines, but all right. So the work got that. So let's go ahead and what I usually like to do is also check out my admins at this point. So if I need to change them. So let me show you how I do that. So I say get ent group sudo. It's usually my sudoers group. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy and paste it in there. It's a little bit easier. Let's see why. So I'm going to copy paste, but I'm going to put a hashtag so it's commented out, right? I don't want to run this, but I do want to use it for purpose. So I know that Oliver is good. Felicity is good. So Diaz is not and Miko's not, but I do need to add Diggle. So let's go ahead and add Diggle. So to add a user is gpassword -a for add. And then the username, Diggle, and then the group, so the sudo group. And we needed to delete 2 users, so gpassword -d for delete, and Diaz from the sudo group, and then we need to delete also Nico from the sudo group. Okay, so that just handled the admins, right? They did ask us to create, if you remember up here, they asked us to create groups. So I'm going to go ahead and do those now since we're kind of in that pattern. So we have the team arrow. Where's the team arrow? I remember reading it. There we go. So we have team arrow without the quotes, right? So let me go ahead and copy that. Right, there's team arrow. So let's go ahead and to do that, we say group add. And we want to do that gpassword again. So it's pretty simple. -a, Oliver, team arrow. Just create the group. Let's go ahead and see team arrow. Let me go ahead and copy this for Diggle stuff. So I just need to change these. And remember I had to add her up here, so she's been added. So we also have Hive, and we're adding. So that's my next group. So group add Hive. So there we go. We can copy this. We need to do it 2 more times. And Laurel. Okay. That's good. Got that done. And usually next I like to get the UFW enabled. My firewall. Firewall needs to get up, so usually UFW enable. And they mentioned something in here about SSH. So I usually, since you turn the firewall up, nothing comes through. So you do need to enable. You need to allow SSH to go through. So don't forget to, when you UFW, allow SSH. So if you don't do that, nothing comes through. Now you can allow at least SSH to come through the firewall. So that's quite a bit of stuff. So you can see we got a lot of stuff going on. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to exit that, go back down to this one here. And if you notice, if I look under my MY, Oh, we got MySQL. There's MySQL. Interesting. So I got my users here, but remember, I don't have my pass. Remember, my pass is not created yet. So I need to change this to an executable. So there's no executable. There's only read write for the user. It's read for the root group, and then it's read for all others. So I need to change that. To do that, you change the permissions, chmod plus X. We're going to add the X, make it executable for everybody. And then my users.sh. So now if I just said my, now you can see it now, it has the executable bits turned on. Now in order to run that, just say /myusers.sh, and we'll let that run. And we should get some points. And you can see that got us a lot of points, right? We jumped. So auto update, well, auto updates got that early, but so password's been updated, system D's been updated, client's been updated. So a lot of things got updated when we were doing the updates here. You can also do another update command that's needed, preferably for the kernel, but we got the kernel already updated. Is we need apt-get update, apt-get disk-upgrade-y as well. So we're gonna let that run. From time to time, depends on what gets downloaded. You might have to, it will even if you did the -y, you still have to help it out. So we did get a lot of things upgraded here, added, but don't forget to do the disk upgrade as well. All right, so we did groups. I usually like to check in the pseudo group is key. Don't forget, which we did, but don't forget about also checking the vi sudo. So in order to run, so type that in, vi sudo. Vi sudo is a very nice command. It actually checks the sudoers file when you make changes to it, and it won't save it if you have an error. So do not save it if you do have an error. Just say, okay, don't save it. So going through this file, I see we actually have a problem here. Slade. First off, Slade is acting as root, which is bad. Right, so we can't, so we need to get rid of that. So a way to get rid of that is I'm just going to hit delete key for that line so the line's gone. Okay. So otherwise, this is clean. We don't want to see anything with we want the root user. That's good. Admin group. So I'm going to check the admin group next. In fact, we can check it up here real quick. Just make sure get ent group admin, and that could be a backdoor. So there's nobody in that group because it didn't come back with anybody. If that could be another thing you need to check on. Any group that kind of has these kind of privileges, check on those to make sure it's not right. So we did the pseudo group. So we did the admin, but if you, like we did pseudo, right? So these are all the proper administrators. Let's see, we got, so one of the other areas that could see in more advanced images is this last line here. So there's look on the include directives. So just be aware of that. See where this include directory is, the etc sudoers.d. So make sure this file is clean. And I'm going to go ahead and the yes. And I need to go into the sudo or site. And usually there should be nothing in here. Now be careful, sometimes on your competition images, there will be something else here where they put the Cyber Patriot engines. So don't get rid of them if that's where they're at. Don't touch them. So let's take a look at inside this cat users. So you can see this, that, oh, there's two more. So we have Daemon and Diaz. So that's bad, right? So they're getting root privileges right away. So we're gonna have to get rid of them. You know, I can also do my other. So let me do here. So let's go ahead and get rid of these. So I'm going to go ahead and gedit users, and I'm just going to delete these two lines, and then I'm going to save it. I'm going to leave it in there, the users file. And we should be getting some points for that. You'll see that coming up here. So here's that removed insecure considers or Slade that got some points. But we should get points for the Daemon one. We didn't get points for the other one, but we did get points for. So that's good. So we got. So now we need. What's next? So we checked the VI suitors file. We checked all the suitors group, the admin group. Now we want to disable the guest user. It's usually a good thing at this point in time. Now the guest user is usually found in the disable that's usually found in the light DM directory. So SD light DM, and it's usually in a lightdm.conf file. If you do not see that conf file, then you need to create it as root. So since we're in there as root, right? Then we're going to go ahead and to create the file, just say touch and the name of the file, which is lightdm.conf. Now I'm going to go ahead and edit this. And I usually like to add in a couple things. So I'm going to go ahead and have a couple lines I like to add in. So let me go ahead and copy and paste that. Now we're obviously not B Allen. I'm gonna put in this is the green arrow, which is Oliver, and I'm gonna get rid of that. Fix that line. We don't need this. Adding that and adding that. So we're allowing guest equals false. This is what turns off the guest account in Ubuntu, and then greet hiders. It's going to hide users. We have to actually know the name. A lot of times, sometimes you get points for that. So we're going to save that. Okay. So the next thing there's a password age policy coming up. Password age policy is found in a login desk file off in the Etsy directory. So we're going to go ahead and gedit login.def. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. And usually at this point, I usually like to do a Control F and then type in PASS so I can get to all these. I like to double click on the 999 and then do 90, 10, and 7. There's a couple other places you need to check for. Scroll down. Login retries is 1. That needs to be 5. And you need to check. Let's see if I can find it here. So be careful with this here. right? So if this is set to yes, that could be bad. Default is no. And we want the encryption method to be the highest one, right? So we want to be and value consistent with the TAM module. So be careful with the SHA-512. Make sure it's SHA-512. So if it's something less, change it to SHA-512. All right, so it looks like we're okay on this stuff. One of the things we learned in Cyber Patriot Advanced Camp was adding in an audit policy or audit server daemon. So we're going to go ahead and apt-get install audit D. And notice we didn't do -y, so this is what's going to happen if you didn't. Next thing we got to do is configure it, and that's audit Ctl -e and then a 1. We're almost getting almost halfway. All right, so next thing I like to check is cron tabs. And if you remember, we had saw that cron tab. So we need to list out the cron tabs, at least for our user, it's cron tab -L, and there's that SE link. So we're going to get rid of that. So the way to do that is cron tab -E, and we're going to go ahead and down to this line, and we're just going to delete it. Remember, that's the backdoor. But before you announce user SBN SE Linux, so right. So if you didn't remember that, so we can say Control X, and we say don't. So we need to delete this one first. Let me go up to this one here and make sure we delete that file. User SBN SE. So there's SE Linux. If you want to see what that program looks like, we can cat it, SE Linux. So that's what this does. It's a Python script. Looks like it spawns a bash shell. Looks like if I see that right. So as people come in on the socket backdoor, you can actually get a backdoor out of it. So what we need to do is to close it, to stop this. So we're going to delete this file. So I'm going to just go ahead and remove it, remove SE Linux. But we also need to remove it in this file here. So don't forget to delete it before you delete this line. Otherwise, you're not going to remember where it's at. And there's points in actually deleting that script or getting rid of it in some way. All right, so we got rid of that cron tab as well. And we may get points as well for that. So one thing that you may not know is that there's cron tabs for other users, not just root. So how do you look for that? Well, there's a nice little you can look for again, you can Google this. You can look for how do I list out cron tabs for other users. And I found, and what's nice is you can actually see all of them. All the cron tabs are actually in the bar spool cron tabs folder. Oh, cron tab, sorry. Cron tab. Did I do that wrong? Cron bar spool. Oh, I spelled spool wrong. Okay. There we go. So, all right. So here, so you can see there's the root one that we were just in. We just changed, but there's also the, so if we were to look at all these, is Diaz and Daemon, right? So we need to see what they have in there. And don't just delete before you look at this program. So we're going to look at each one of these. So let's take it to, and all you do is just do a cat on them. Daemon, that's the name of them. But there's a way to run that, right? I actually can, I found a really nice little script. And let me, but it has to be run as root in order to do it. So I'm going to paste it in here. So the script looks like this for a user, and then you're getting that first field, right? The first field, cutting that out, and you're saying their delimiter is a colon. That's the password for each user. That does, right? That becomes, that puts the user there. Echo the user. So that's, we're echoing the user. And then we're cron tab -u, then the username, and then we're listing that cron tab out for each user. And it's doing that for all the users. So, and you can kind of see here for Diaz. So we did up here, we did for Daemon. So Daemon is here. So he has something called set password perm sh. So he's got something that's going to change passwords or change something. We'll see. So obviously it's probably not good. And so let's, and then for Diaz, he's got something that will install bad apps. So that's not good either, right? So we got two nefarious actors here. So let's go ahead and let's do the install bad apps first. Again, we want to look at these scripts. So I'm going to copy and paste this so I can change directory a little faster. Yeah, I'll do done. Install bad apps. Let's go and take a look at this one. Install bad apps. So what this is a bash file. It's going to install Kismet. Okay, so he's installing some. So let's take this and let's use this against him. So let's uninstall these, right? Since we know. So I'm going to copy. And I'm going to paste this. Okay. And I'm going to purge them, right? I'm going to purge all these. And I'm going to remove that. Okay. So I'm going to gedit Daemon, and I'm going to get rid of that line and save it. All right, so I need to. Oh, that was Diaz one. Oh well. All right, so looks like it was the same directory. So so we need to get rid of this one. So remove install bad apps. We need to get rid of that. And the other one was in Daemon, so we're gonna go to the Daemon one. Daemon documents. So this one set password permissions. And let me check Diaz here. Edit Diaz. That's that bad app one. So we're going to go ahead and kill that one while we're at it. Let's see what this thing does. Oh, okay, so password file. We'll eventually get to this. We're going to eventually get into this one. So he's setting the password file so that everybody can read it. So if we look at the password file, so we're going to look at the etc password, and we're also going to look at the etc shadow file. So if you notice that, oh, he never did get ran. That's good. No, he did. Okay, so he had 664. No, he did not. Okay. So this is supposed to be, password file is supposed to be, let's see what this is supposed to be. Password is 644. So this is a little bit off here. So I need to change it. Change mod to 644 for the etc password file. And I need to change the shadow file to be 640. So now if I were to list these out now for you, you can see what they should be. So this is correct. So his was changing them. So we stopped him probably from changing it fairly early since we changed his user, that sudo stuff. So we probably stopped some of that stuff from running. But this is what it should look like here. And we should get points for it. Let's see. Let me go ahead and update this. So yeah, right here, the octal permissions of etc password are 644, and the octal permissions of shadow is 640. So good. We got those taken care of. Now you have to watch out because again, that's important to go through all the different users and make sure that they're not running any cron jobs against you. Those are logic bombs that you're going to lose points for, and you're going to wonder why you're losing points. That could be one of those things. And that's similar to the others on the Preacher and the Pontiac one, where we had scheduled tasks that were running and taking away points for you. So some logic bombs. So it was. So this would have been the same thing. All right. So what we're going to be doing next is looking at the host file. That's also found in. So let's take a look at the root. We're done. So that's clean as well. So we're going to go back to the etc directory, and inside this one is the host file. So this is wrong. That's Google needs to be taken out. So we're going to go ahead and gedit hosts. So otherwise, this is a clean file now. So we're going to go ahead and save that. We should get some points. Okay, we already enabled our firewall. If we want to double check it. So it's active and it has 22, so that's good. Now, next thing I usually like to do at this point is secure my SSH. This is found in the SSH directory. So it's etc SSH. Okay, that's interesting. Usually there's an SSHD. Guessing we do not have the open SSH server installed, which is the problem here. So we need to install the server. If you remember in the README, we need the OpenSSH server, not just this is the client. We need the server installed. So we need to install that. So apt-get install OpenSSH-server. Okay, now you'll see now after installing the server, if I do a listing, now I got all these keys, right? So when you do the server, you need all these keys. They generate all these keys for you. Also, here's your SSHD config program, the script rather, configuration. So we need to go in there and edit this SSHD config. So we're gonna go ahead and do that now. And usually you're going to go down, move this over, I guess. Under authentication, grace time is 2 minutes. So if this is a 2M, you're fine. Permit root login, prohibit password. Do you want to say no to this? You want to change that to no, because you don't want root to log in. Strict mode, yes, fine, this is good. But we also want to add a couple other ones, and that's max auth tries as 5. Let's go that right, yeah. And we also want max sessions as 10. So in other words, don't have any more like you notice I had 2 windows up, right? I got this window and that window. That's 2 sessions. So limit no more than 10. And usually we also will permit empty passwords, no. Keep that there. And exporting, no. And use PAM, yes. Okay, so we're going to save this. Hopefully we get some points. Oh, it's password authentication. Yes, sorry. Take out that. All right, there we go. May not get points, but that's okay. All right. Now we look for some MP3 files. I usually like to look for MP3 files at this point. So let me go down to this one here. And then what I like to do for that is, again, we have the find command. It's usually they're in the home directories. File type F, and iname means ignore case, and anything with the .mp3. And it looks like we do have some. So there's a lot of different people. So Oliver or Sarah and Dinah has some. So I usually like to run this command first, see if I do find anything. If I do, I usually get ready to run the command again, but then I add on -exec, which means I want to execute I want to remove those things. So that's RM, same as like delete and DOS, and then curly brace, open, close curly brace. So for each file that it finds, it's going to remove that file, and then keep looping until you don't find it. So that's what that means. And we're going to run it. And notice nothing really came back, but we didn't get an error. So let's go ahead and run it again without removing. All right, let's see what we got here. So we were at 37, 38. We're at 38 out of 60. So we removed the MP3 files. They gave us some more points. So SSH, no empty passwords allowed, and the max auth tries is set to 5. So that's good. We got points for that. We got points for the root login has been disabled. So we got a couple points for inside that SSHD config file. And the pure FTP, remember we deleted all those things, and we removed Google from the host file. All right, so we're getting some points here. All right, so let's go ahead and at this point I usually like to harden in my Firefox. And that's the 3 lines here. Go down to preferences. And I like the, let's go scroll through these. Okay, nothing on that one. Let's see what's on this one. I think it's under privacy and security, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. It looks like everything's under here. Usually you have to click on strict to get to some of these advanced stuff. So I usually click on strict, and then send website do not track signal, so always. And then delete cookies when Firefox closes. I usually don't change this until the end. If I we want to pop a block pop-up windows and then warn you when websites try to install add-ons. And then you want block dangerous and deceptive content, all of them. Okay, so that's about everything. And I'm gonna leave this here because there's no points for change. So you see we got a couple things for that. We were at 40. Let's see, we got at least 2, 41 and 42. So looks like we have 4 items actually. So we got 4 points. So we're at 69. We're doing pretty good. All right, so now we got to look at that ports. I usually like looking at ports at this point. So let's go back to the top one. It doesn't really make the difference when we're doing it. That's that TULPN is the one I like doing. All right, so we got My Ssh running. We got this ncat thing. That's going to be a problem. DNS mask, that's okay. So don't get rid of that. You want to keep that. SSHD is the Open SSHD server. It's on port 22. Cups is your printers. Keep that. Python we're going to have to get rid of. We're going to have to stop that one. So we'll do that eventually. Apache 2 program, obviously, right? So SSHD is fine. Cups. So these Avahi daemons are okay. So don't worry about those. The ones we need to worry about is MySQL, NC traditional, and Python and Apache 2. So let's we'll keep that up here and we'll do one at a time. So we have deep. I usually like looking under D package for each of these. I'm gonna do a grep under MySQL. Let's see what happens. Okay, so that works. So we're gonna go ahead and purge all MySQL. So I'm going to say apt get purge MySQL star, and then -y for means answer yet. So if you notice, everything starts with MySQL, and I'm going to say star after that skips all of those. All right, I'm going to hit on Apache next. So let's check out Apache. dpackage-l, and then I'm going to grab Apache. So again, same thing, but I'm going to say Apache 2 just to be safe. So apt get purge Apache 2 star -y. So I just removed everything. I'm going to update this netstat command again, see where we're at. Okay, this is that hidden backdoor. So we want to stop that. Did we get points for it? We did get points already, but I do want to stop it because someone can still get in here. So we're going to go ahead and ps-ef, and I'm going to grep 3.1. Let's see if let's try Python just out of curiosity. So here it is. The way to stop this process from from running is you're looking for this ID. So we're going to say kill, and we're going to do a -9, which kills it for sure, and then just that number. Okay. And then that should be that one. And let's go ahead and check it again. That's gone. These could be other things. It doesn't mean that we need to get rid of them yet. So let's go ahead and check our netstat, and it's gone now. So that's good. So we got rid of that Python thing. We do need to get rid of this NC traditional one. That is bad, and I did not see that in any of the the cron tabs. So it's coming up some other way. There are some other ways things can happen. I'll show you how this one comes up. This one is coming up through the RC local. So we go, that's found under the etc directory. So as the computer boots, this is like an auto exec batch file, how they used to be in Windows and DOS. So this the RC local. Right, so and if you notice, it's executable. So if we actually cat that out, this is where it's coming up at. So we needed to basically delete this line. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and edit this rc.local, and we're gonna get rid of that line because this is a script, and then we're going to kill the file. And we probably want to get rid of nc.traditional. So we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to have to uninstall nc traditional. So we're going to kill this script. Let's see what this comes up with. So there's that script there, 1496. So we're going to kill that. It looks like we may actually have some other ones. We're going to do the first one, though. That may kill the other ones. Kill -9, 1496. Let's check it again. So we still have another one out there. So we're going to kill 80460. Okay, so we don't have anything else out there. So we killed another backdoor. We still also need to kill, so we got rid of the RC local, which is probably where we got our points from. I think we just got those points. So there should be some points here for that RC local. Not sure where that is. Do I need to? Yeah, here it is. Remove the netcat backdoor. Okay, so we can also delete the NC traditional. So let's go ahead and check that out. That's dpackage-l. Let's go ahead and grep the nc.traditional. Let's see if there's something like that. There's nothing. Netcat. There it is, netcat traditional. So it's net spelled all the way out. So I'm going to delete this one here. OpenBSD is probably another one we probably should delete. So apt-get purge netcat traditional -1. So we're gonna get rid of that one. But we don't get points for it. We won't get, and you probably want to do this one as well, but you're not gonna get any points for it on this image. But just I would suggest looking at deleting, purging, uninstalling both of them. All right, let's see what else we have going. I think we actually are pretty clean now. So we have DNS mask, which is good. The OpenSSH server is good. Our printers, Apache Daemon is fine. So we are clean here. So this is now pretty clean on the ports. And we've done 45 out of 60 items. Okay. Let me show you another one. This is going to be a hard one to solve, but I'll show you a way to get around. If you remember, we had the, I think Caden, right? When Caden, one of those bad guys. So /home/Caden. He had a bunch of stuff in his documents folder. So he had all these private shells and so forth. So we're going to delete some of this. Secrets looks kind of suspicious as well, but remember we need to delete these. So I'm going to remove SUID. Remember, this is the script that created that private shell. Right, so we're going to go ahead and remove that. And we need to remove that private shell as well. So that got rid of those two. Private shell is a way to elevate your privileges. So be careful with that. That would be. Let's take a look at what's the secrets. So cat secrets dot text. Well, that's curious. Let's go ahead and, not sure what this is, but let's, this looks strangely like a base 32 or 64. Let's see what this is. Probably base 64 code, my guess. And we're going to go ahead and type that in, say decode. And look, it has everybody's password. So obviously we do not want him to have this at all. So let's go ahead and remove this. All right, so we get some more points, 0.7. All right, so let's kind of go through this. I need to kind of head back on doing some stuff. I'm going to check on some users. So remember, I need to delete Caden. So I need to go back to my, what I did, and then check on Caden as well. So we're just double checking our work. Just because you did something doesn't mean it's stuck. Right, so something we may have missed. Right, so it's like we got all these things. I think that's all done. And we probably should get rid of the Apache log. We are done with that. So let's just get rid of it. I don't think we're gonna get points for it, but it's okay. All right, let me go back to the users. And that was done. We did that under the, remember, we did that under the Etsy directory. So we had one, we definitely, let's see who we had here. Let's go back to the README. All right, let's do, under the Etsy directory, use this one, cat my users .shell, right? So let's take a look at this, make sure we got everybody. Did we miss anything? And sometimes you're in a rush, we forget past. So we did. We forgot this one, Slade. So remember, Slade was not found. What happens if you don't have any, but it's not found? They're still commented out. We should delete them. So the way to delete them is we need to, it's usually we type in user del and then the username. So I forgot to do that here. You guys are probably yelling at me saying, hey, you need to delete them. So that's what we had to do for that one. And we should hopefully get some points for that. So that should have been, I should have done this command, user del, and then I should have ran it, but I forgot to go back through it. All right. And if you remember, we also have we have Caden, who seems to be a user ID of 0. So there's actually, let's see if I can find it here. So one thing you can do, again, this is an alt command, finding all your 0 IDs. One way you can do that is awk -f:, again, this is the field delimiter. And we're looking at the third field. Again, that's the user ID field. Double equals 0 in the etc password file. All right, so we want to print those out. So this tells us real quick who all the user ID of 0s are. Root is okay, obviously that's good. But Caden's the other one, that's bad. So we need to get rid of him, but I'll show you how to get rid of him, because you can't, normally you say user del, right? User del Caden. And like, hey, it's already being currently used by process 1. So it's not going to allow you. Process 1 is when the computer originally boots up. That's the first process. Well, that's controlled by none other than root or user ID of 0. So it's not going to let you delete that user. So what we need to do next is, Caden came in as a normal user at one time. So one thing we can do is we can look in the groups file. So there's a groups. Hopefully he's got his own group. So if we actually say grep Caden in the /etc/password file, you'll see that that's in there. But let's look in the, I think it's the plural. No, it's singular. Okay, so he came in as group 1008. So I'm going to change him back to 1008. Then I'm going to go ahead and do that user del on him, and then we should be okay. But you have to edit the etc password file. Okay, you got to edit that, and we're going to change that into 0 to 1008. So we're going to go down to Caden and make this 1008 for both the user ID and his group ID. And we're going to go ahead and save that. You could also just delete it, but then that leaves the groups file kind of messy. So we're going to clean that up a little bit. And now we're going to say user del Caden. So hopefully that catches it. And he's gone. So that's good. So we actually got points for that. That's actually a very hard one to remove. But hopefully that shows you how you can do that, how you can actually remove Caden or someone's user ID of 0. So we should get points for Slade. Okay, we got Slade out of the way, so that's good. Excellent. Let's see, what else was I thinking I missed? Let me think about this here. Oh yeah, okay. So one of the things we need to do is start. We still got some applications we need to look for. We'll do them in a little bit. First, we need to take care of Pound. So let's go ahead and add Pound. So we want first thing to do for PAM is install the one utility. So let's go ahead and add that. So we're going to install the libpam-crack.lib. Say that real fast, right? So we're going to say apt-get install libpam-crack-lib, and then we're going to say -y to say yes to automatically install it. Don't prompt me. So we're going to install that. Set a lot of things up. And what we're going to be doing next is we're going to set the password policy and the password history. So that is found under the etc pam.d folder. And there's a lot of these common files that we're going to be going into. These files right here. Oops, these top four. So I'm going to gedit the common-password file. And on this one here, we're going to be doing about remembering things, the length, the complexity for the password policy. So what we want to do is add in. I'm going to copy this because otherwise it takes too long. So we're going to add in remembering equals 5 and minimum length equals to 8. That goes on the pam-unix.so line. So if you look at the pam-unix.so line, it goes to the end here. And I see a problem right here. See MD5 right here? Well, if you read up here, we want the SHA-512, not MD5. So change this to SHA-512. And I'm going to go ahead and add this remembers equals 5 and min length equals 8. So that gives us the password length and the last 5 passwords, right? So we're going to go ahead and also put some complexity to it. So that's where we use like the D credits, and we use the U credits and the O credits and all that stuff. So I'll explain that in a second when we put that in. So at the end of this line here, which is pam-crack-lib.so, we're going to go ahead and add in this. So digits, you get a credit for digits. You get a credit for the upper character, and you get a credit for the lower character, and then all others. So upper, lower digits, and then other characters. The -1 set is forced. You're not going to get any credits, but you can put in values here. So you can actually say, I want min length of 12, but for each credit, you can go one less character by having a digit or uppercase or lowercase or other. So let's say this is 12. You just said equals 1, or -1 says I don't give you credit at all. So, but anyway, so we want all these like that under this one. So it should look just like this when we're done. We're going to hit save. Should get some points. So that's common password. The next should get some points there, if I'm not mistaken. That should be password policy. Complexity was added, as well as the history was added. And we should have fixed the 512. So we should have all those. Yeah, so that's so that's here. All right, so now we have to go to the common common account table, common account table, or common account file. Gedit common account. And this is where we do a lockout counter. And what we're going to do is above the pam-unix.so in the common account table, we want to add this. So look for the pam-unix.so, And above that line, you can do it just above it or even right here. I like to do it here. These are just comments. Is we're going to say count required, cam tally to.so. Add that line. We're going to save it. And then we're going to go into the for our lockout policy. We're going to use the comment off file. And on this one, lockout policy, so at the very end of the file, we're going to say this is after 5 times a failure, we're going to 5 failures, right? We're going to lock you out for 30 minutes. So if remember in like the Windows, again, 5 times, 5 tries, unsuccessful, it's a lockout for 1800 seconds, which turns out to be 30 minutes. So we're going to save this. We should hopefully get some points for this. And that's the lockout policy. All right. So what we're going to do next is there's a really good website out. Well, there's a lot. So we're gonna add in. There's some options. There's a nice website out there. I'll leave it up to you to find it, but it talks about disabling IPv6 and your SYN cookies and IP spoofing and all that stuff, right? So, and they give you what the options are in Ubuntu that you need for that. And what you have to do is you're going to have to go ahead and go into under the Etsy directory. So we're going to go back to the Etsy directory, and we're going to go into the Cisctl.configure file. And at the very bottom of this file, we're going to just go ahead and add a few lines. So I'm just going to put a comment added today for this demo, right? So I add all these lines where you can see there's a lot, right? So where's my so I added all this stuff in here. So we're doing the ICMP redirects. We're doing ignoring these. So ICMP are pings, send flood attacks, send redirects. So this is what we added today for this demo from this point on, right? So that so you see where we added it, make it a little bit known. And then from this point on, we added the spoofing protection, disabling IPv6, these values. So, and then we're going to go ahead and save this. And we're going to say exit. And what we have to do is we have to reload this in order to get the points. So, to reload this, and you learn this from the advanced camp. So we type in Cisctl-P to reload it, and we should get some points now. So we should get the TCP send cookies and the marsh that's been set. All right. There are some applications that we missed. So we need to sometimes you can find out where your applications are by going into under I think Ubuntu software, look under your installed items. Not sure what's going to show us here. Okay, it's not cooperating with me. That's interesting. All right, it's fine. Let's see what we got. Sometimes that helps, but not helping today. We can also look for, see, I looked under Zen. There's, so obviously we have Zen map. That's a bad one. So I'm going to go ahead and, so if I look, D package for nmap, I got both nmap and zenmap. So we're gonna get rid of both of them. So I'm going to say apt-get purge nmap and then zenmap and then -y for that's giving us some more points. We should be at least 57 now, right? So, okay, we're getting close. So, like any computer, we need an antivirus. So, I'll recommend doing apt-get install. And there's a window, there's a GUI version and there's a line version for this. Let me see if I can. So it's the clam AV and clam TK. I think TK is the GUI version. So we're going to go ahead and install that. That should give us some points. And there's probably a whole list of software that you need to look for. So we also have Wireshark we need to get rid of. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of Wireshark. So we're going to say dpackage-l grep Wireshark. And we got everything in there. So we're going to actually get rid of anything that says Wireshark in it or Wireshark star. So apt-get purge Wireshark star -y. So it's not going to get these top ones, which is fine. Usually the points are for the Wireshark itself. So we're going to go ahead and run that. Alrighty. So let's take a look. I think I may have missed something. So I don't see that I got points for. If you remember, there was the Diaz, and we also had Daemon. So let's take a look at Daemon. /Daemon/documents. Oh, okay. So we forgot to delete this file. We need to get rid of that file, right? So that's doing all of that. So we need to remove the file set. There we go. So that should give us. That was the one we were missing, where we actually had to delete the file too. So not only did we actually removed the script, but we also got rid of the cron, right? Or we took care of the cron job. So so don't forget to delete the script and take care of the cron. and also other users, right? So we had other users that had root privileges. These guys, remember earlier, had privileges in the sudoers file, and they were actually in that, remember, that users file, which made it even worse. So you had to actually find it. So this should give us all of our points. So we're 60 out of 60 for 100%. This is the, and so this is the green arrow. This is basically level 7. Level 7, level 8 type of thing. Probably what you're going to see in round 3, or even the semifinals. But a lot of things happening here. Hopefully that you learned a lot, different things I showed you. Hopefully that that helped you. If you have any questions, go ahead and like it, and give me a thumbs up. Enjoy.